The underlying bill has to do with DEI initiatives and hiring practices within state departments. We've had ample discussion. There's actually been an executive order from Governor Kehoe to end these practices. This would just be the solidification of that in statutes. Now, what the substitute, what I just put forward, would be DEI and CRT being taught when K through 12, as well as the Parents' Bill of Rights aspect to it. That would allow that parents have full capability to see the curriculum, see exactly what is being taught, that they have full control over their child's education. This was a bill, my bill 115, went through committee, was voted out, party line. But again, all this does, it's not stating that we can't dive into history. It's not stating that we can't dive into any of these unfortunate circumstances that occurred in this nation. What it is stating is that we're not going to promote certain ideologies as though they're good. And let me read exactly what the prohibition for these practices would be. Let me get to the page. Okay. So basically, what it would do, sorry, I'm trying to get to it, that these ideologies will not be promoted. So, in other words, you could talk on the evils of racism and so on and so forth, but you're not going to promote as though because of the certain color of your skin that you're inherently racist, that everything about you is racist, everything about this nation is inherently racist. It's not allowing to drive that narrative home. So again, you can speak on the evils of slavery, of which we all agree, but to state that this nation or a certain people, certain group of people are to blame, and they will forever be inherently racist as a result thereof, which is exactly what we've seen with a lot of these initiatives, that would be prohibited under this law. That's all that this is doing. It also not only says you can't teach these sorts of ideologies in these manners, but we're also going to teach, so it's not just a prohibition, it's also going to say that we're going to teach the Declaration of Independence, the Civil Rights Act. I'm trying to get to the portion of the bill. The U.S. Constitution, Federalist Papers, especially SA 10 and 51, Alexis de Tocqueville, Democracy in America, the transcript of Lincoln and Douglas debates, writings of founding fathers, the history and importance of the Civil Rights Act, the 13th, 14th, and 19th Amendment, and to ensure that there's critical thinking that goes along with that. American history is a very robust and a very diverse history, and we all know that, and honestly, that form of American history was taught all the way up till the early 20th century when former President Woodrow Wilson, through his academic movement, actually scrubbed Black history from American history, which did create kind of this vacuum and whitewashed a lot of the history. So it did occur. But to say we need to replace that and flip it on its head and teach what was emphatically wrong, emphatically incorrect way to go about treating another human being, to turn that on its head and treat others in that manner is terrible, and it's a terrible disservice for all future generations of this state. No one should be discriminated against. No one should be treated unfairly. But with these practices that we've seen all across this nation, I think that we have got to plant a flag and say that we are not going to teach these sorts of curriculums. And I was going to read just a couple with the CRT aspect, just a couple things that have happened, nationally. So in California, third graders were made to deconstruct their racial identity, rank themselves according to their power and their privilege. And then the teacher told students that they lived in a dominant culture, white, middle class, cisgender, educated, able-bodied Christian English speakers. And that they had to deconstruct that and basically apologize for the fact that they live in the country that they live in, and made to feel as though they were should be uncomfortable in the skin in which they live, and God created them. I think it's unconscionable that this sort of curriculum is occurring across this nation. Now, there's 10 of these, kind of the worst of the worst that honestly I could go on. But I think that this body, we've heard these bills, we've seen it nationally, we know what they consist of. But the question lies, is this body actually going to do something about that? I mean, this should transcend party lines, and that's what's unfortunate. No one should be treated unfairly for the color of their skin. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. And to go back to that sort of treatment of individuals is reprehensible. And I think that's what we have to fix today. That's what we've seen in these hiring practices, where we're not celebrating the meritorious actions of one, whether or not their skills are better than another, and we're advancing individuals according to their skill. We're advancing people according to the colors of skin. And that's wrong. That's what the whole point of the Civil Rights Act and the affirmative action movement, it was supposed to be about, judging according to the content of character, not on color. Yet these sorts of programs, unfortunately, do the exact opposite of that. And they've had terrible results as a result of these policies being adopted. So I would be happy to answer any questions, and engage in any sort of debate. This is good policy. This is what we should be moving forward. This is actually, I would assume, most people that ran on election, this last election cycle and the cycle before that and the cycle before that, were probably campaigning on the fact that they were going to put a stop to this sort of behavior all across the board, whether it be a State Department, whether it be a local school board, local school district, or what have you. So I would be happy to answer any questions, and if not, I would renew my motion. Thank you, Mr. President.